smiling face. I already spotted you in the audience. How are you, Nina?
Yeah, not bad.
Great to see you. I'm going to swap positions with you because I'd like you on this side. Can you? Yeah?
I'll go around this side.
Nina DeMarco, YDM Design Studio. We're going to be talking now about designing a kitchen. And I love kitchens. I could sleep in a kitchen. I've been designing kitchens for like 30 years and things have changed so much. All of the lighting, we didn't have the options, even the finishes. I started off working for a company in Sydney. We had 3 different granites to choose from for the bench top. There was no man-made stone, that hadn't come yet. I remember a client said to me, James, I can't choose this stone for my bench top. It's the same stone my mother's buried in a Rookwood cemetery. I'm like, you know, you're forming relationships with people, but you're unlocking potential of design. We're going to talk now about how the kitchen should work the way you live, because there is no cookie cutter, and how you and I might cook might be quite different. I'm sure your food will taste better, but I'm great at presenting it. We're going to talk about the importance of thoughtful planning, smart storage, and layered lighting as well, so a little bit of an overlap. More information that you guys can get and use in your own renovate or rebuild projects. We'll do Q&A afterwards. Please put your hands together for Nina DeMarco. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Lovely. So, hello everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm really excited to talk to you all about something that I'm very passionate about, which is wellness design. I think that this is something that is not talked about enough in the builder industry, and I am on a mission to change that. So what is wellness design? Wellness design is about creating spaces that improve the health of the occupants, whether that's physical, mental, or emotional. Today we are going to be focusing on the kitchen in particular, and that's because it's one of the most used spaces in the home. It's more than just a place to cook and clean and eat. It's also where we gather a lot of the time, where you might even feed your pets, where your kids might even do their homework. And a well-designed kitchen can help to reduce stress, support better habits, and create a calm of sense and control. So, one of the most important things that you can do to create a kitchen based on well-being is to include some functionality. The simple truth is that streamlining the cooking and the cleaning process will give you more time to do what you really want to be doing, whether that is spending time with family and friends, or whether that's just sitting on your own with a cup of coffee and a good book. If you are looking to renovate, it's likely that the kitchen already feels quite poorly designed and it's causing some stress. And it's not enough to just pick some new appliances, some finishes, and a new color scheme. If you're not thinking about how you want to use the space, then you're not really designing to the kitchen's full potential. One of the things that we consider, that we ask our clients to consider doing, is thinking about their particular rituals and habits. An example of this is clients who really love coffee and they love the ritual of making a coffee in the morning. We always try to put in a little coffee station to make that ritual even better. If you're like me and you like to have multiple teas every single day, then something like a zip tap that gives you boiling hot water straight from your tap could be a great addition. And making the kitchen more functional by incorporating your rituals actually also makes it a lot more exciting and fun to use as well. Some other things to consider are who will be using the kitchen and how they like to cook and clean. Obviously, we've spoken about their rituals, but something else you might not have considered is their height. Sometimes we've got clients and one person tends to be a lot taller than the other, and what we do is we'll nominate an area where we might have a slightly higher bench top that that person can use without having to bend over and be a lot more comfortable. The activities of the kitchen beyond the cooking and the cleaning. For example, if your kids are going to be doing their homework in the kitchen, where do you want them to be sat and how is that going to work with the rest of what's going on in the kitchen? How you like to entertain. Some people prefer to have the people that they're gathering with in the kitchen with them, cooking and cleaning together. Some people prefer to have them sitting at the island with a glass of wine. So that could change how the kitchen functions. And lastly, how does the kitchen incorporate your pet's needs? Do you need a little nook in the kitchen to store the pet's food or to fit them in the kitchen without being in the way of walkways? So, storage can be just as important as functionality. There's nothing more frustrating than not having enough storage or having the wrong type of storage. Now, hands up if you've ever felt like you've got things on your benches that you really don't know where to put, or your cupboards have just been overrun by things and you can't find what you need in them even when you're looking. So what happens is that visual clutter creates mental clutter and unnecessary stress. But it's not about having completely clear benches. What we actually want to be doing is being intentional about what you want to see, what brings you joy to see, and then making it incredibly easy to put everything else away. Now, there's a couple of things that we like to do with our clients to reduce the clutter in the kitchen, and they are the ones listed here. So the first one is to prioritize drawers over cupboards. When you use drawers, you can open it all the way to the back and see everything that you have. It's a lot friendlier on your back as well. Creating work zones so everything is easily accessible. An easy example for that is unloading your dishwasher. If when you're unloading your dishwasher, you need to walk all around your kitchen just to put everything away, then you haven't quite done it right. You want to have everything close by so that everything is at arm's reach when you're unloading. Appliance cupboards. And this is something that's become incredibly popular at the moment. As you can see the picture on the presentation here, we also like to use pocket doors. So pocket doors, if you haven't heard that term before, are hinge doors that open up and then push all the way into the cupboard. And this allows you and other people to move around the kitchen without those doors being in the way while still having access to that space. And lastly, any sort of mechanisms like pull-up bins, spices storage, and corner cupboards are also incredibly helpful. So, when we start the design process with clients, a lot of them actually bring up the resale value of the home as a way to keep something that they don't use a lot of the time or to choose very safe colors. But when I ask them how long they plan to live in the home, they always tell me they want to be there for quite a long time. So if we were to be designing around the resale value of the home, what this would mean is sacrificing years of daily wellness and happiness for a hypothetical future buyer. If you're the one using the space every day, cooking in there every day, gathering with your friends there, then you should really be designing it for you. And once the idea of resale value is removed from my clients' thoughts, then they actually feel so much relief and excitement as well. It opens the doors for us to choose textures that they love, colors that feel good to them, details from their stories, and deeply personal touches. And one of the best things is that, designing for yourself doesn't actually mean no one else is going to love it. If you've designed something that is intentional, has a lot of thought behind it, it's actually going to feel a lot better than something that's very simple and bland anyways. A more particular approach that we like to take to wellness design is biophilic design. This is a term that's starting to become very popular and with good reason. This is an approach to interior design that aims to connect people more closely with nature. And if you're asking why we want to do that, it's because we as humans evolved outside, surrounded by greenery and sky and water, and our bodies are still attuned to those environments. So when we do spend time in nature, you'll find that our bodies actually shift from a fight or flight to a rest and restore state. So bringing this into the home, even in small nods, can still have a really positive impact. In the kitchen, some of the particular ways that we bring biophilic design into the home are through windows, materials, and layouts. So windows in particular are great because they not only bring in that beautiful natural light, but you can also have beautiful views to greenery and to sky. If you feel up to it, indoor plants and herbs are also a great way to bring the nature into the home. And then what we do most of the time is incorporating natural materials like timbers, natural stone and linen, and incorporating colours, patterns and shapes inspired by nature. When thinking about well-being in the home, it's important to consider the social connection. Whether it's a Tuesday night or a Saturday night party, humans are naturally drawn to the kitchen as a place to gather. So we always look to see how we can enhance that experience. Islands are particularly popular for gathering, and this is because not only do they have an area for sitting, but they also have walkways on all sides. And that means that multiple people can use the space at once without bumping into each other. Some other factors that you might want to consider is the way that you face whilst you're cooking or cleaning, and the flow between the kitchen, living and the dining. Acoustics is another area that you may not have considered, but kitchens are filled with hard surfaces, so sounds will reflect off these and bounce around. A way that we like to reduce harsh sounds is by adding softer materials. So whether it's in the kitchen or in an adjacent area, things like rugs, curtains, upholstered chairs can all help to dampen the sound. And lastly, if you want to make the space feel even more welcoming, I do like to include lots of circular and organic shapes. So this could be something like rounding out the corner of your island bench, or including tapware and lighting that's got beautiful organic flows through it. Another aspect of wellness design you may not have considered is healthy materials. Of course, kitchen materials are made to be food safe, but there's still an invisible risk you may not be aware of. These are called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, and are chemicals that evaporate into the room in room temperature. And this can be for a short while, like a few weeks, and sometimes it can be for years. They affect the air quality in your home and can lead to headaches, dizziness and irritation. In the kitchen, the things that we consider most of all are your cabinetry, your benchtop, flooring and paint. So when it comes to cabinetry, the main thing to consider is a low formaldehyde rating, like an E0 or an E1. The great thing is that Laminex and Polytech, which are the two brands we use most of the time, already meet this rating. For bench tops, again, a lot of them are VOC free already, but if you are using a natural stone or a solid timber bench top that will need a sealant, some sealants do contain VOCs, so we do recommend speaking to your cabinet maker or your stonemason about that. For flooring, you want to avoid anything that's very plastic. So laminates and PVC vinyl flooring are full of VOCs and will off-gas for a very long time. And then lastly, for paint, low and zero VOC paints are already available, and an example of that is the Dulux and Byron range. So this is, if you've been here for the last talk, this will be fairly similar to what we just spoke about. But basically, I'm going to look at this for more of that circadian rhythm side of it. So your kitchen might seem a bit of a crazy place to really think about your circadian rhythm, but you actually spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So because the circadian rhythm starts from the moment you wake up to the time you go to sleep, there's actually a lot of time in the kitchen that can help you out. The circadian rhythm, if you don't know what that is the way that your body tells you when you need to be awake and alert, or when you need to be ready for sleep. And to do this, it actually takes cue from light. So during the day, you want to mimic what's going on outside, lots of bright light, and usually that's done through natural light through your windows. At night time, you want to have that much softer light, and you want it more at eye level. So in your kitchen, what this means is layering your light. Obviously, whilst you're cooking and cleaning, you want to prioritize not cutting your fingers off, so have the light that you need. Task lighting is great for that, But once your cooking and cleaning is done, we recommend turning off all your ceiling lights and having a couple of wall lights and LED strips that are like nice warm white glow, and that can be used to transition into the evening. Kitchens are big investments, so we definitely want to future-proof this as much as possible. And whilst it's impossible to know exactly what's going to happen, we do like to keep in mind future accessibility and aging needs. We already spoke about wider walkways around an island and how great they are for using the kitchen with other people, but even if you are thinking of just being there on your own, it's great to have wider walkways for any accessibility needs. Also, oven towers. So with oven towers, the oven sits at waist height, so you don't have to bend down. It's also a similar height to your benches, so it makes it a lot easier to get things in and out of the oven compared to the ones under the bench. Corner pull-outs are great. Cupboards are so hard to use to reach all the way to the back, and the corner cupboard is the worst one of them all. So a corner pull-out mechanism that brings that corner up to you can be incredibly helpful. We also like to use smaller drawers, so maximum of about 700 to 800 wide. That makes them a little bit more comfortable to use. There's still, quite a lot of space, and it means that it makes them lighter. And lastly, induction cooktops is the way we're all going, and it's obviously a lot safer than gas. So that's it for a quick rundown on how we like to use wellness design in the kitchen. Thank you for being here. If you do want to follow me on Instagram, I do have a QR code up on the screen. My business, YDM Design Studio, works all around Melbourne, and we take on projects of all sizes, from a small kitchen to a full home renovation. So if you do want to speak to me about any projects, I do also have my email and my number up on the screen. Thanks.
Thank you. It's really funny, when I started designing kitchens, and I'm moving out of the way so they can get your details,
Yep.
but I can get close, don't worry. You're safe. Talking about a healthy kitchen was something that was never in the conversation when I started designing, in the late 90s. But now it's important. We really want to be aware of where our products are coming from and how they're used. And I'm sure that's really a part of, it's a major push of your presentation. But
Absolutely.
Do you find clients asking those questions? Do you think they're concerned about it?
I think a lot of the time it comes from me, and it's not because clients aren't worried about it, but because they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I'll mention things about, like, a client will tell me they want a specific type of flooring. I'll say, I think maybe let's think about this. This type of flooring has VOCs in it, and they just would have never even considered that as a thought, because the information isn't really up there. Like, not many people are really talking about these things, which is why, I wanted to be here and share all these with people, because to me, it's just a no-brainer that, that's how we should be thinking about our kitchens and the rest of our home. But it's not really the first thing that comes to mind a lot of the time.
I love as well, I agree. I'm ticking in my mind as you're speaking, so I'm giving you a good rating. The wall appliance is so important to be able to reach at waist height, and the weight, a roast or your spanakopit or whatever you're cooking. I've got to put some Greek food in because I'm down here in Melbourne. To be able to take that off and then have the bench space on the left or right, or maybe behind in the island.
Absolutely.
It just makes sense instead of, I'm over accentuating, but this is what I do with my clients. Like lifting this thing up out of an underbench oven. They can look beautiful. If it sacrifices bench space, you might have to do it, but the tower 100% is the way to go.
Even for me, I don't want to be bending down to grab things. It's just so much better.
It's forced exercise. Have I got any questions at all for Nina? They've all been listening, they're all thinking how healthy their kitchens are. You might not know this, I don't know if you do. Mother-in-law's tongue, do you know this tall, very mid-century modern plant, green with the yellow variation through there? It might be called the snake plant. It's proven to be one of the most healthiest plants to have in your house to remove toxins. So if you've got somebody moving into a new home, or you are, that plant, it's very architectural, will be clean. It's like a clean filter. They're amazing,
Yeah.
and they remove a lot of these toxins. Or go to a great designer and remove them from being put in your
And,
house
you know,
altogether.
sometimes you can't do that because of budget restraints.
Yeah,
So
of course.
if you can't do that, then exactly you want to add things like plants
Yeah.
that help the air be a bit healthy for you.
Now, if people want to come and see you and talk to you about their design, they can do so. Do you offer
Absolutely.
sort of a meet clients who you catch up first and understand plans and things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. So all our jobs start with a discovery consultation, and that's an 1 hour meeting at the client's home where we go through basically what their dreams are, what their plans are, and start to
love
make
it.
it all happen.
I call it speed dating.
Nice.
You want to know what you're in for. You want to have a good relationship with the person
Yeah,
who's coming through.
absolutely.
Love to see these new, young and energetic designers coming through, because we need to get rid of all of the ugly houses and the impractical spaces around the country. All of the details are there for Nina. Please put your hands together for Nina DeMarco. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've got about 9 minutes now until the next presentation. If you'd like to sit here and have a rest, you're more than welcome to. It's Sunday. Please get up and have a walk around as well through the show. Next presentation is at 12. And it's my good mate Damien Corney from Graphico. We're going to be talking about print, colour, texture and the power of wallpaper. Great for renovation, great for the renters, great way to transform your home. Good to see you all here at the Home Show, everyone. Enjoy this Sunday. It's much nicer in here. It's so warm and inviting. I'll see you back for the next presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Great.